Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to the first Bristol virtual conference, Bristol Robotics Lab virtual conference. So my name is Manuel Giuliani. I'm one of the co-directors of the lab. Together with me is the other co-director of the lab, Arthur Richards. And we have two really good welcome opening speakers. One of them is Ian Nabney, the head of department from the University of Bristol side, and Todd Burton, our dean from the faculty from the University of West of England. So I'm going to hand over to Ian now for some welcome words before Arthur and I talk about the conference in general.
Thank you very much, Manuel. So I wanted to start by sort of talking about the place of the BRL as far as the University of Bristol sees it. So the other day, our Vice-Chancellor said to me that the Faculty of Engineering was the jewel in the crown of the university. And I have to say that the Bristol Robotics Laboratory is one of our jewels in the crown for the Faculty of Engineering. I think what really impresses me most about this is that it's a really genuine and deep collaboration between the two universities in Bristol, and that it has such great leadership. There's a really strong sense of purpose, but also lots of space for individual creativity, as we're going to see during this conference today. And it's quite rare in my experience to find a research group which really understands what it's trying to achieve as a whole, but also allows for that individual freedom, which I think is so important. One other thing that I find really impressive about the Bristol Robotics Laboratory is the breadth of research. And we'll see lots of different topics covered today. But I think beyond just the technical breadth, it's also the fact that the questions of ethics and responsibility are taken really seriously within the laboratory, and also that there's a strong sense of understanding of the social impact of what people are doing, but also social robotics, the idea that robots and people can interact and improve the lives of people. So the laboratory is full of people who are really excited at the potential of the technology, and we can't do anything in research without that sort of excitement and drive. But importantly, these people are also very mindful of how and why the technology is used, because we're well aware of many of the stories of data science and robotics and AI, many great uses of the technologies in the world, but also many very ethically unsound uses. And it's really important that we are, if you like, on the side of social good in all the research that we do within both the universities, the University of Bristol and the University of West of England. And I think the other thing that I really value about the BRL is that it takes very seriously its mission for being part of the future, and part of the future of the research community. So it is very heavily involved in training and developing the next generation of researchers and practitioners. We will hear from several of the PhD students in the FARScope Centre for Doctoral Training, but also there's a suite of postgraduate talk programs in robotics and then in aerial robotics and biorobotics, which are starting up this year. And that shows, if you like, the scale of ambition in terms of influencing the future of the subject, not only through writing papers and producing great applications, but also through training the future as I said, researchers and practitioners that are going to make robotics be of use for everyone. So I think this is a great initiative, having a really interesting broad conference here today. And I think that's all I have to say from the University of Bristol's point of view, and I'll pass over to Todd next.
Yes, good morning, everybody, and thank you, Ian, for those kind words. My name's Todd Burton, and I'm the Executive Dean for the Faculty of Environment here at the University of the West of England. On behalf of the university, I'm very pleased to welcome colleagues from across the region, across the UK, and in fact across the globe to the first Bristol Robotics Laboratory virtual conference of 2021. As a proud Executive Dean, it's also my honour to sing the praises of the work here in the lab. I suspect today that you will hear a lot about partnerships, human-machine partnerships, business and academia partnerships. However, from the start, I would like to highlight that the Bristol Robotics Laboratory is in itself an excellent example of partnership in practice. Formed in 2006, the lab is a joint collaboration between the two great universities in our city, the University of Bristol and the University of the West of England, or UE Bristol, as we refer to ourselves. The lab has over 400 academic colleagues from these two universities working together to explore the boundaries of robotics in the modern world, and together they form one of the largest multidisciplinary centres of excellence in the field within the UK. Just as exciting, as Ian has alluded to, is the work of the 200 or more masters and doctoral students associated with the lab. Together, they're shaping the way we will think about and interact with robotics. I hope you will enjoy the glimpse of the future that we revealed today. Finally, can I thank the two co-directors from the Bristol Robotics Laboratory, Professor Manuel Giuliani from UE and Professor Arthur Richards from UOB. In the true spirit of partnership, together they have navigated the many difficulties of the past 18 months. They've kept the lab open, operating and thriving, as will be showcased today, supporting colleagues to continue to build the excellence that in the DNA of the Bristol Robotics Laboratory. So can I welcome you to today's conference? I'm sure you'll find it an exciting, informative and inspiring day. So please enjoy, and thank you very much. Over to you, I think, Manuel.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Ian. Thanks, Todd. That's really nice. Very warm words. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, well, Arthur and I are going to talk a little bit about the Bristol Robotics Lab now. So, in order for that, I'm going to switch over to slides. So, well, BRL is quite an exciting place. So I have to say I'm really proud to be, to have the honor to be co-director of this amazing lab. So we have put a few pictures of robots that we are working on at the moment or in the past on this slide. So BRL is really a great community, an exciting place to be, and a place for excellent research in robotics. And as you can see on the slide there, we do all kind of different robots and robotics research in our lab. So there's a lot of research going on human-robot interaction. We also work on autonomous cars. There are many bio-inspired robots here, soft robots, swarm robots, and robots for extreme environments and all of that. So over the whole day today, you will see many exciting talks. In fact, there will be over 50 talks today from all our PhD students, from our researchers, from our professors, and I think there will be something interesting for all of you there. So just quickly to go over a few numbers. So we are actually the biggest multidisciplinary robotics lab in the world. We have a quite large laboratory space. So I'm sitting in the lab right now. I can see over the whole lab from my office where I am right now. In this lab, we have a lot of hardware. We almost lose track of how many robots we have. So over 800 there. We have a lot of external research funding. So many thanks to our funders to make all of this happening. Also many thanks to our universities to make this happening. We are quite an international lab. So at the moment over 54 nationalities around the lab. And you can see the numbers of people that we have in the lab yourself. So a lot of academic staff. We actually have the biggest MSc robotics program in the UK with 150 students. We have the luck that we have a Center for Doctoral Training funded. So together with the Center for Doctoral Training and the other PhD students who have other funding sources in the lab, we have over 100 PhD students, and we do have a quite large undergraduate program in robotics as well. And so it's an exciting place to do robotics research, to learn about robotics, and also to engage with businesses in robotics. So I'm going to hand over to Arthur now to also put some more thoughts on robotics.
Thanks, Manuel. And I'd also say, it's wonderful. I wasn't quite expecting it, but it's wonderful to see so many comments coming through already of people saying hello to us from around the world. So hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It's great to have you joining us, and we're glad to be able to share all this. So Todd and Ian have already spoken and sort of teed you up to the idea that BRL is all about partnerships, and BRL indeed is a partnership. So it is, it's a partnership at its heart. And I think what happened with BRL was that the two universities in Bristol recognized that the enormity of the opportunity in robotics was going to be something bigger than either of these universities could bite off on their own, and that by pooling their resources in an unprecedented way, that we could have a kind of critical mass and an impact on this area in a way that was much bigger and much more exciting than anyone else could manage. And we've seen others follow suit since then, but still BRL is unique in the way that it really does pool its resources, and it's just a big joined up community and a sharing of knowledge and of kit and of space, and a level of integration that's unprecedented. As well as inside, inside BRL, we have lots of partnerships outside BRL. So we enjoy wonderful partnerships with our sponsors, with academic and industrial sponsors, and we'll be touching on those throughout the course of the day. We work in partnership with entrepreneurs. So BRL has a fantastic hardware incubator and also works with other incubation agencies around Bristol. It's a great city to start a business in, and we again, these things are very joined up. It's great to see so many of our students and so many of our staff moving into business using these startup opportunities. Of course, we have many collaborators around in academia and in industry, and it's a great part of our culture that we can just jump in and start working. I think Ian alluded to the idea of individual freedoms, so it's great to see that our academics and our researchers have so many relationships around the globe that we'll be seeing more today. We work a lot with policymakers, so we're represented on the Robotics Growth Partnership. We're in the EPSSC's UK RAS network, and so we have those opportunities to shape robotics policy, and also working again with our funders and sponsors to kind of shape what the future of robotics might look like in that way. We also work with people like regulators and legal agencies, certainly through some of our CAV projects that you'll hear about later on, looking at future regulations and the impact in that sense. And we have people on standards boards looking at ethical regulation, ethical standards, technical standards, interaction standards for how to make robotics responsible, which is a huge question and one that we take very seriously. We're very lucky to work with a really supportive region, and we have great relations with our local combined authority, WECA, and also with our local authorities in the region, South Gloucestershire and Bristol City Council, who've been involved and actively participating in lots of projects with us, and also helping to understand how the work that we do can help drive the future strategy and the future development of the region, as well as the broader questions of robotics in the world and in the country. And then finally, of course, we're very lucky to work with a wonderful local community. We do lots of work in the community. You'll be hearing lots about that today. You'll hear about robotics going to schools. You'll hear about robots going into residential homes and hospitals, and that's enormously important to us, because partly it's about raising excitement, and of course we're trying, we all know about trying to get more people interested in STEM, and we think robotics is a great way to do that because it's all built on STEM from a technical standpoint, but it's also about trying to get a diversity of voices and understanding into the way robotics is shaped in the future. So BRL is all about partnership, intrinsic and extrinsic. But of course, the final question that we've been teased about is, what is our purpose? So having told you we have such clarity of purpose, we better tell you what it is. It's a very simple one: ubiquitous robots everywhere. We're thinking about robots flying over you, tunneling under you, maybe inside your body, working on you, treating you, delivering drugs or repairing injuries, robots that may be able to pick you up and carry you around or help you recover from injuries or strokes. It's robots up close and personal with human lives in a way that is radically different from what we've been talking about robotics in the past. And so this is, it's a different kind of robotics. I think it's what our lab has made its hallmark. And so it comes with a set of challenges, as you can imagine. So, you know, if robots are going to be that up close and personal with you, and if they're not so, you know, if they're not so incredibly sort of flimsy as to be pointless, then we have to ask big questions about safety. And we have people working on consideration of that in various ways that you'll hear more about from Kirsten Ada, for example, for today. Social is here a proxy for a level of interaction. So you'll hear about social interaction, but interaction comes in many forms, and so this is about, you know, robots that are used to working with humans and engaging with humans, and that's not just, you know, that's partly about being the right shape, but it's also about the you know, the responses, the intelligence, the emotional engagements, and of course there's all sorts of questions in that as well, about you know, the ethics of that we take very seriously. These have to be scalable. You know, there are lots of us on the planet. There need to be lots of robots to do the things we want them to do, and we know that scaling up brings massive challenges. So you'll hear this later on, and particularly around ideas of swarming and so on, but we know from long experience that when you scale things up, unexpected things happen. And we know that this challenge of ubiquity demands robots on an unprecedented scale. And you know, what is that going to mean socially, technically? These are questions that we have to engage with. And then, of course, the final one is that this means the machines and the systems have to be smart to deliver this. You know, you know, clockwork won't do. So these have to be machines with built-in intelligence. That comes with a whole pile of challenges of its own to do with how do we, you know, and if you take these four things together, any pair of these is something, well, how on earth do I make it safe and smart at the same time? What does that mean? Or what does scalable and sociable mean? So this 4S challenge that we set is, you know, it's enormous, but that's our common purpose. So to close with the idea from me about the idea, well, you know, this is about a different partnership. This is a partnership between human society and robotics. It's different to what we've done before. It gives us lots of challenges to think about, and I mean, we've titled this "Transforming Industry Together." The transformation that we would like to challenge ourselves and to you to engage in, as the automatic lights in my office go out. There we go. Let's wave at that. So the challenge that we'd like you to engage in is, what is this partnership going to look like? We know we've got some simplistic ideas kicking around at the moment that say, oh, brilliant, you know, I can get a robot to do that job, I'll save a wage and so on. Life is not going to look like that in this world of ubiquitous robots. So we need together to transform our understanding of how humans and robots will be partners. That's all from me. I hope you have a really interesting day. I'll be popping up occasionally for the odd talk, and I'll hand you back to Manuel, who is going to tell you more about what to expect over the course of the day.
Yeah, thanks, Arthur. Well, first of all, can I just say, it's so great to see so many international people in the chat already, and we have 166 viewers at the moment. That's really great. So very welcome. Very warm welcome to all of you. So I just wanted to make aware. So as I said, there are 4 parallel tracks in the conference going on today, and so as you know, as the conference attendees, you have gotten the password to the program, so you will be able to pick and choose the talks that you are interested in. So we will have track 1 to track 3 focused on our academics and our researchers. For example, in track 1, as the next talk, we have Arthur talking about drones. In track 2, we have Matt Hale talking about robot fabrication, and in track 3, Matt Studley is going to talk about ethics. And then in track 4, we have a specific track for our PhD and MSc students. So also, you know, if you're interested in the newest and the freshest idea in robotics, then go to track 4, because for sure our PhD students are the ones who have the newest ideas. So if you want to see some of the exciting early career research that we are doing in the lab, please go to track 4. So there are tracks all the morning, and just to make you aware, so what you can do is you can go to to each of the talks. You can start the talk, and since it is on YouTube, it will open in a new window, and then hit the pause button, and go and see one of the other talks first, and then come back to the first talk that you have clicked on. So if there are two talks you're interested in and they run in parallel, just make use of that functionality so that you can see both talks at the same time. Also, all of the talks will be recorded. So at the end of the day or tomorrow, if you still have one of the talks that you want to see, you can also watch them on demand later. So just to make you aware, at the end of the morning session, we will have a panel discussion where we talk about the future of robotics, and that will be filmed live from our seminar room. So if you want to see Sabine Howard, Praminda Kalipsoli, Arthur, and I talk about the future of robotics, please come to that panel discussion. And then in the afternoon, we start off the afternoon program again with another very interesting panel discussion that will also be filmed live. And for this panel discussion, we are focusing on smart automation and industry and startups. So for that, we have Sammy Payne from Open Bionics invited today, Arthur Keeling from Indus Limited, and then two of our industry engagement experts, Farid Dalami and Mark Corduroy. So I think that's also going to be a really interesting discussion there. And then similar to the morning session, we have the same concept in the afternoon. There are 4 tracks. The first 3 tracks are from our academics and researchers in the lab. Track 4 is from the PhD and master thesis research. I think there's only one more thing left to say before we start the program. So at the end of the program page, you can find a 360-degree virtual walkthrough of BAL that has just gone live. So if you want to have, since we can't invite you all to be with us today in person, the very least we thought we can do for you is to give you a 360-degree virtual tour. So if you want to see the whole lab from inside, please go to the program page. At the end of the page, you will find a link to this 360-degree tour. Please make use of it and have a look at it. And of course, that will also be online in the following week. So you don't have to do it right now if you don't have the time. But please have a look at our great facilities. All right. So we are going to have a short break now, and then at 10 o'clock, we are starting at track 1 with the first talk by Arthur. And if you are interested in any of the other tracks, please go back to the program page and click on the link for the other track. Thank you.
Thank you.